Would you please stand for morning time? Would you please join me in the pledge to the Bible? I pledge allegiance to the Bible, God's holy word. I will make it a lamp unto my feet and a light unto my path. I will hide its words in my heart, that I might not sin against God. Join me in the pledge to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We're working through our catechism questions, and we've been talking about sin. So let's start there. Remember, it's any lack of conformity to or transgression of the law of God. What is sin? Sin is what is meant by lack of conformity? Not being. What is meant by transgression? Doing what God forbids. What does every sin deserve? The wrath. These are some newer ones we've been working on. So, how sinful are you by nature? I am corrupt, every part of my being. Let's try that again. I am corrupt in every part of my being. How sinful are you by nature? I am corrupt in every part of my being. So, the answer is original sin. What is the sinful nature that we inherit from Adam called? Original sin. That's the sin that we receive from him being our representative head, and it's passed down to all his generations. The question is, can anyone go to heaven with a sinful nature? And the answer is no. Our hearts must be changed before we can believe in Jesus and go to heaven. So repeat after me. No, our hearts must be changed before we can believe in Jesus and go to heaven. Let's put it together. Can anyone go to heaven with a sinful nature? No. Our hearts must be changed before we can believe in Jesus and go to heaven. Let's try it again. Can anyone go to heaven with a sinful nature? No. Our hearts must be changed before we can believe in Jesus and go to heaven. We are kind of getting close to the end of the semester, and some of us are kind of feeling a little bit of drain, a little bit of energy. So we need a sound off to kind of help us. So this one is a historical Proverbs, which means that it's a famous saying of a famous person. This comes from John Paul Jones, who is the father of the modern Navy. And the story is that he was in a Navy battle when the colonies were fighting for their independence against the British Empire. And the British Empire at the time had the best Navy, best ships. And he was fighting them with a kind of a small rickety ship with their beautiful warships. And they were completely pummeling him. They were beating him. The cannonballs were beating up his ship, and it looked like they were going to board it and completely take it over. And one of the fancy British admirals says this to him. He says, "You're in poor shape. Are you ready to strike your colors?" Now, that's kind of a funny saying, strike your colors. What do we mean by that? What is he talking about when he talks about strike your colors? Chase? Surrender your flag. So if you're a ship in that time, your flag was kind of your big deal, like who you were, it was your identity. And he's saying, are you willing to take your flag down and give it to me, and I'm going to put up the British flag? And his response was, I have not yet begun to fight. So, yeah. So I'll say, you're in poor shape. Are you ready to strike your colors? And you're going to say, I have not yet begun to fight. So repeat after me. I have not yet begun to fight. Let's put it together. You're in poor shape. Are you ready to strike your colors? All right, so that helps. This will be a reminder that we are to finish this semester off well, finish this week off well. We've been talking about prudence. Prudence is thinking before you speak, thinking before you act. And I want to give you another fable. We've talked about Aesop's fable. We talked about prudence, honor, and pleasure. That pleasure is a nice guest that we can invite from time to time, but not someone we're going to partner with for our affairs of our house. He's not going to run the show. Here's another one. This one's called The Sick Lion. A lion, no longer able from the weakness of his old age to hunt for his prey, laid himself up in the den, breathing with great difficulty and speaking with a low voice. The lion gave out that he was very ill indeed. The report soon spread among the beasts, and there was great lamentation for the sick lion. One after the other came to see him. Catching him thus alone and in his own den, the lion made an easy prey of them and grew fat upon his diet. The fox, suspecting the truth of the matter, came at length to make his visit of inquiry, and, standing at some distance, asked his majesty how he did. Ah, my dearest friend, said the lion, is it you? Why do you stand so far from me? Come, sweet friend, and pour a word of consolation in the poor lion's ear, who has but a short time to live. Bless you, said the fox, but excuse me if I cannot stay, for to tell you the truth, I feel quite uneasy at the mark of the footsteps that I see here, all pointing towards your den, but none returning outwards. What's the point of that story? Aesop was someone who lived in the Greek times, and he would do these fables, and all the stories had a meaning, had a point. What is the point of this story when we talk about prudence? Tucker? Be careful of lions. Yeah, stay away from lions. What else? Yeah, Lucas. Say that again. Right, yeah, don't be impulsive. Don't jump into something right away, right? Prudence is the idea to think, right? And it's also that it's better to figure out things before, at the beginning of a matter, instead of waiting till you're in the middle or at the end of the matter and then realizing, oops, I shouldn't have done that. So prudence is the ability to think before the matter starts, before you get into something, before you're all entangled in it and realizing, oops, that was a mistake.
So not being impulsive, but think. And it's always better to figure things out the best you can at the beginning of a matter, at the entrance of the cave, instead of being in the cave and realizing the lion wants to eat me. So as you think about things and you go into something and make a decision, it's better to be prudent, to think through the matter as best you can before you get into it and realize, yes, I should, this is God's will, or no, I'm uneasy about this, I'm going to wait and see, or talk to someone first, or no, this is wrong, this is sin, I'm not going to do it at all. So as we think about being students of prudence, we want to make sure we think through the matter beforehand instead of waiting till we're in the middle or at the end where it's much more difficult to work through it. We've been singing about angels and their obedience and their example to us, so let's sing Angels from the Realms.
Angels from the realms of glory, wing your flight o'er all the earth. Ye who sang creation's story, now proclaim Messiah's birth. Come and worship, worship Christ the newborn King. Shepherds in the field abiding, watching o'er your flocks by night. God with man is now residing, yonder shines the infant light. Come and worship, worship Christ the newborn King. Sages, leave your contemplations, brighter visions beam afar. Seek the great desire of nations, ye have seen his natal star. Come and worship, worship Christ the newborn King. Saints before the altar bending, watching long in hope and fear. Suddenly the Lord descending, in his temple shall appear. Come and worship, worship Christ the newborn King. All creation join in praising God the Father, Spirit, Son. Evermore your voices raising to the eternal three in one. Come and worship, worship Christ the newborn King.
You are in poor shape. Are you ready to strike your colors? All right, the Lord be with you.